am very stoked to be in studio with the record company as you guys get ready and hang out with the tambourines and stuff. Yeah. What are we doing with the tambourine? Putting it inside the shirt to mute it?
That's right.
All right. So, Chris, Alex, and Mark of the record company, welcome to Go Radio.
Thank you for having us.
We're very happy to have you. It's very hot today, so
It's a warm day.
it's warm. You guys are from LA,
Yes.
so heat is something that you're used to.
Well, I grew up in Wisconsin, so it's like the humidity doesn't exist in LA. So
Yeah.
if it gets hot, it's just that nice baking hot. It's not the
Like, I wanna
shirt
die.
stuck to your body hot.
There's always a nice ocean breeze.
That's nice. That sounds refreshing.
not bad.
Should we address the elephant in the room of the Minnesota versus Wisconsin beef? I feel
Sure.
I feel like in the Midwestern pop culture lexicon,
It's
there's always
pretty serious, right?
You think so? Because in Minnesota, I feel like, especially in the Twin Cities, we kind of hype it up. Like, we go to Wisconsin, we hang out there, but as soon as Vikings-Packers comes around, we're like, oh no, screw Wisconsin. But
No, yeah, the Vikings-Packers thing's definitely a big deal, right? I mean, moving to LA, I definitely have, I've mellowed
Yeah.
because
No, you haven't. Come
Yes,
on.
I have. Come
I've
on.
watched you.
I've mellowed. You didn't know me in my prime, in my Wisconsin prime, but no, it's that's all part of the fun, right?
It is fun. I think it's fun to, because I hate the Packers, but damn,
You gotta hate 'em,
I
yeah.
love Aaron Rodgers. I love watching him run around.
I do not like the Minnesota Vikings, and I have never gone on record saying anything about any sports team anywhere, really. And I mean, but I will say this: that game last year against Drew Brees and the Saints, even I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah, the
That was
Minneapolis
ridiculous.
Miracle.
Yeah, that
And
was.
just mentioning it just gave
And
me
that dude, like,
goosebumps.
what was the name of that? See, the biggest problem is we're on the road a lot, so I don't get to watch as much as I used to. Football's basically the only thing I even can try to keep up with because
Yeah.
we're just never around.
And it's once a week. With the NBA, you got 82 games all the time. Where
Like I
football's
buy the package. I try to watch the games. Last year was a catastrophe for Green Bay. So what can you do? But
sorry about that Anthony Barr thing. Bro.
yeah, really. Yeah. Hey man, it's football. It's the way it goes. But I'll say this: when I saw the end of that game, I was like, wow, that was pretty amazing.
That was wild.
Who was that dude? He threw
Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs.
when he threw his helmet and kind of stood there in
he
glory.
did like this bit.
That was pretty amazing, But as a Packer fan, I hope we beat you twice this year.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough.
so-
I'm glad we put that out.
I'm not
there.
gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and be fake, but I mean,
I appreciate the authenticity.
at the same time, when you go over to music, there's a lot of things about Minnesota that I admire, especially we were just talking about Prince, and we were talking about even just weren't the was it the Replacements were from up here?
Yep.
They were a great band. A great music scene has been up here for a long time. First Ave and that whole thing. We're getting to play First Ave in the fall.
Do you guys have a star? I feel like
We don't have a star on.
I
yet.
guess for something that was maybe you will have a star.
I don't know.
That's
Dare
the
to
goal.
dream. Dare to dream. And if we keep talking about the Packers, they will never let that happen.
we try to be as inclusive as possible. So you guys have a new album coming out in June. All of This Life.
Yes.
The last album. So I was reading online your guys' rise. It was quick. So you guys recorded your debut project.
Yes.
And then 18 months later, you're playing with John Mayer at MSG.
Yeah, well, there
That's
was
fast.
a lot of years of
there was 4 years
grinding.
before that.
There were
Okay.
4 years of grinding in this band, and then all of us, when I toured through the Midwest for years. I used to come up, play the Twin Cities all the time. These guys would play. They both lived. Alex, our bass player, Mark, the drummer. I'm Chris. We would play anywhere we could. I mean, we pack into a minivan and drive around and play in front of 5 people. So we did that for a good while.
How did you guys all come together? Was it in LA?
Yeah, I was in LA. Alex and I met through
The wonders of Craigslist.
it was Craigslist actually.
Really? That's how the Lumineers got together too.
Yeah.
So Craigslist is where genius comes together.
Every
I
once in a while
know.
you luck out.
I just heard about this band Mount Joy. I just was listening to their story, and they also found each other that way. But I just had an ad up, and these guys had been in other bands. Alex and Mark had been in other bands, and I had just moved to LA, and it's a big city. And being a Midwest boy, when they said, my wife was like, "Oh, you should put an ad on Craigslist." My reaction was probably like how everybody out there listening is reacting right now. It's like, Craigslist? Why?
I'm not trying to get murdered today. Not today.
Because
No.
we don't. At least when I lived in the Midwest, we didn't use it like that. It was like maybe I go on and try and find a guitar or something, but you wouldn't put an ad up like, "Hi, I'm Chris. I'm looking to play some music."
We figured out though that Alex and I had a band. We were playing at the 10,000 Lakes Festival years
yeah,
ago.
that's right.
Wow.
And Chris saw us at that.
Really?
This
I
is
did.
year before you even moved to
Yeah, and I
Los
liked your
Angeles, I
band
think.
there. I remember.
That's so,
So
dope.
we have all roads lead back to here, apparently.
That's-
you know?
He was one of the 9 people in the audience
Yeah.
for that one.
I remember thinking, wow, these guys are really good. Nobody likes them except for me. That's too bad.
How long ago was that before you guys got back to get met up in LA again?
Oh man, that was like 5 years later.
Really?
Yeah.
The universe operates in such odd ways.
Yeah.
Has a
no.
sense of humor.
It's
Um,
crazy. Online, I was reading about you guys and how you guys talk a lot about your vibe and being a blues kind of leaning band. Would you guys describe yourself as blues?
Rock
Or
and roll.
Rock and roll.
You know,
I mean,
what-
rock and roll is bluesy inherently.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Exactly. That's where the roll is, isn't it?
yes,
So
I would say.
it's like Muddy Waters said blues had a baby and they named it rock and roll. So we're a rock and roll band. The Stones are a rock and roll band. I'm not comparing us to the Stones. I'm just saying that bands that we admire, that we listen to,
Yeah.
are rock and roll bands, blues-based stuff for sure is a part of that.
Yeah.
I
I mean, the blues scale shreds.
Yeah, we love blues. I mean, we love like Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Jimmy Reed, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we also love early rock and roll. We love punk. We love a lot of stuff that people wouldn't even necessarily think we would love, like Aphex Twin and Boards of Canada and what else, Al? It's Grateful Dead, all over the board, man. So the Stooges, the Stones.
Speaking of Stones, Rolling Stone, the magazine, when your new song "Life to Fix" came out, they said it was like a top 10 of the week country and Americana song. Were you aware of that?
No.
That was a thing.
Oh,
With you
really?
guys.
That just happened?
I think it was a month ago.
Oh, wow. Well, there
So
you
it's
go.
how do you react to being a top 10 Americana or country song of the week?
Hey, we welcome all comers, dude.
Yeah, I think like the amount of touring that we've done, especially as like an opening band, we played for everybody from Social D to BB King. We got to open for, and
How was the BB King show? Sorry.
it was great. It was right about a year before he passed away, and for us that was just kind of like, and we were kind of new at that point, and it's like you just don't get that gig, so that was cool. But we've sort of seen that like this thing works in front of all kinds of different crowds. We were just down in Mexico with Zach Brown Band, and
That was a blast.
that was great too. So we've sort of found a way to not just like end up in one planet or the other. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's fun that way.
Unlike
too,
the
'cause-
Dead, like as a band we look up to a lot, and their whole vibe was just like all are welcome, and that's kind of like where we're at. We're not like aiming for any demographic or particular audience. We don't care how old or young you are. We don't care what you listen to. It's just like we're doing what we do, and all are welcome.
Think about how the way we take in music nowadays with streaming, like when you had to like, even when I was young, I had $20 and I had to buy an album, so I'd be limited to one, and if it sucked, and that was it. And I had to save up money, my allowance, to buy another album. Whereas nowadays, I pay $10 a month, I get every song ever. I can listen to Outkast, get some record company in, then go to 311 or
Right.
something. So I think that's your embracing of all like the ways we take in music. Like, we don't listen to just one genre anymore.
Yeah, man. Why would you too, right? It's
so much
like
good
there's great stuff everywhere. Why limit yourself to just one type of music? I mean, I can understand if there's a particular thing that really flips your switch a little more than something else, but I think we like to. I mean, we'll sit around listening to Notorious B.I.G. all day long, and love it.
Inherently
So,
bluesy at times.
Yeah,
we were
he's
just
my
at a
favorite.
festival 2 days ago up in Napa, California, and Snoop headlined. And I mean, we after you play, we played a little bit before him, and everybody kind of splits up, does their own thing, but inevitably everyone was sending a text like, "Yeah, we're at Snoop. This is awesome."
Yeah. Jeez, that's awesome. So
You're missing it.
all of this life in stores June 22nd.
Yep.
Let's talk about as you guys grow together and kind of experience more success, what was the process of making this album?
What do you think, Al?
What was your goal with it?
We were on the road so much the last few years, so we had a lot of life experience to put into this record, and it kind of finally came time where we were at home and we said we have to work on this, and we all kind of had that experience, and just with what's going on in the world now, it just all kind of culminated, and we just sort of like we did in the first album, we started back at my house in my living room, kind of doing it the way we used to do it, and we started writing songs there, and we kind of branched out a little bit on this record, and we found a couple new studios. We've got a guy to mix the record. We just kind of wanted songwriting, the production, just the sound of it to feel like it went up in its natural progression of what we wanted to, say as artists. So it sort of culminates all of that. We're really excited about the album. We're psyched for people to hear it.
I'm too. I think for summer for me, it's that bluesy type music and hip hop all summer.
Nice.
That's all we need. So you guys have instruments. You guys have a new song out.
Yes.
Let's talk about the new song before would you guys like to play it for us?
Of course.
That'd be great. So let's talk about it for a little bit and then let's play it. So Life to Fix. Where did this song come from? How did it originate? How did it come to be?
Kind of came out of just a melody that Alex, over here, who had just spoke, Alex, a bass player, kind of was humming it in the car on a ride back from a gig in Colorado. He just kind of
On the way to the airport.
was goofing around. He's like, I'm going to come up with a hook. And he just like sang this hook and he was goofing around. And I was like, dude, that actually was really good. Record that. So we recorded it. And then that's how ideas happen. And, it just these days, you've got these little devices that can record every idea, which, sometimes maybe that idea would have slipped through the cracks back in the day, but it sat there. And when you sit down and you're ready to write, those ideas start to come together. I think the bass line had came together, which our music is very much, a lot of it is centered around a bass line because it's rock and roll, it's a 65, 70-year-old genre. And, we're just trying to come at it from our own way. You could play the same riff on a guitar and it kind of would have that like, oh, I've heard this before kind of vibe. But if you play it on the bass, you feel like, okay, this is a little different. And then just the lyric content, I mean, that was actually another line that Alex came up with, the Life to Fix. When we all sat down and wrote it together, I think we were coming from an angle of like, go inside. And, the thing about it is one thing I think we can all relate to as individuals, and I'm not just talking about our band, I'm just saying, I think everybody has stuff they're working on and, internally. And it's okay to spend some time and get in there and do the work on that. If something's hitting you wrong or aching inside, I think the way to make your life better, I've found, has been to ask yourself the hard questions first and tend to your own thing, So I think it's just taking responsibility. Wouldn't you say, Al? It's like having some accountability for yourself, not in a bad way, in a good way, saying it's all right. I'm not perfect, but I'm working on it.
Life is learning, right?
That's
Life
right.
is growing. So the record company, Life to Fix, I would love to see this live. So
Well, you're going to see it in the form live right now.
let's go.
This is we call it
Wrapped up
the
tambourine and
shaker
all.
version.
Yeah, the tambourine in the button-up shirt. I love it.
I got this life to fix, threw it all out in a ditch, broke it down when I was sick, gotta build it back up brick by brick. I got this life to fix, threw it all out in a ditch, broke it down when I was sick, gotta build it back up brick by brick. Whoa, 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 I left my home today, I didn't have that much to say. This time alone is all I got, singing my song in the parking lot. Every day I wake this way, some days I just can't take. Get that money, get that break. Ain't gonna win if you ain't gonna play. Whoa, whoa, I like the way I feel. I'm up all night, close that deal. I'm all alone, it's all I know. Singing along with the radio. Dream about you every day. Can't go back, you're gone away. You knock me down, but that's okay. We all look back on yesterday. All look back on yesterday. I got this life to fix. Threw it all out in a ditch. Broke it down when I was sick. Gotta build it back up brick by brick. I got this life to fix. Threw it all out in a ditch. Broke it down when I was sick. Gotta build it back up brick by brick. I got this life to fix. Threw it all out in a ditch. Broke it down this laughter fix, threw it all out in a ditch, broke it down when I was sick, built it back up brick by brick. I got this laughter fix, threw it all out in a ditch, broke it down when I was sick, gotta build it back up brick by brick. I got this laughter fix, threw it all out in a ditch, broke it down when I was sick, gotta build it back up brick by brick.
Man, I have so many things to. Holy shit! Bleep that out.
Bleep
that was
that.
great. Thank you so much, guys. I love how you guys are talking about. First off, I respect how you're not in drop D. I think with blues, it's easy to go in drop D
Sure,
and kind
sure.
of just bar it. But I was respecting that. And then two, I love how like we were talking about how that song's about accountability and growing and
Yeah.
learning. But it's easy to be like, I got this life to fix. Remember, woe was me. I like how it's optimistic.
It's got to be optimistic, man. It's like there's a time for everything. There's a time to kind of you don't know you got something to fix unless you recognize that you're feeling down.
Yeah.
Right. And like it's no matter growing up on a farm in the Midwest, one of the things you got to be able to do outwardly is recognize what's not working. It's like, if we don't go up there and fix that, that's going to fall over. If we don't deal with this, it's going to you're taking care of your own stuff, right? It's the same thing looking inside, it's and looking at your life. I mean, we all have made mistakes. We all are imperfect people. We're not here preaching, man. I just think that in this time where it's like there's a lot of negativity flying around, I think one of the things we talked about as a band was just like wanting to say something about how we felt inside ourselves and like what motivates us to make music and why we make music. And one of the reasons we make it is to heal ourselves, and it's like, and we do that outside of music too. The three of us are very close. We don't necessarily wax poetically too often, but when we do, it's, we're helping each other. We help one guy can go to the next guy and be like, hey man, you're going to figure that out. Or, hey man, you got to do this better. One of the things in this group is accountability, do your job, be good at what you do, try and do it well. If you're not doing it so well, try and do it a little better. And that goes across all phases of life too.
I love that. I love the.
But you got to keep your head up, man. You got to keep your chin up. You can't let it get you down, because none of us would be sitting here talking to you if we had, when I was in Wisconsin, I mean, my dream was gone. It was over. And it's not because of Wisconsin. It's just I was not going to play music for a living. That wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to be in radio stations. I wasn't going to be, doing the stuff we're doing, like the tour you were talking about earlier and everything. And so when you look the death of your dream in the eye, it changes you. And then when you get a second chance, I think you gotta go after it with everything you have, and you have to be willing to change and evolve.
I love it. That's not just music, like you said. That's life.
You hope so.
I love it.
Just
So-
trying to be good people.
I think you guys are great people. I think we're friends now.
I think so.
I love it. All
That's what I
right.
love about the Midwest.
Jordan,
Become
we'll be
friends
friends
fast.
if I can take one of these.
What is one of those?
Was that the free quarter pounder that we got in here?
Yeah, there's a little card that says buy one get one free quarter pounder.
Mark, I'd love if you have it.
All right,
You
we're
can
in.
have it.
We're in
All
for
right,
life
so-
now.
You had me at drop D tuning. The idea that you know what that is, that
all working
I'm sold there.
Midwest, baby.
We could go in, but man, Chris, Alex, Mark, thank you guys for coming in. The
Thank
record
you.
company, buy their new album.
Buy it.
Don't stream it, but buy it. Go out. I want you to buy the vinyl. I want you to buy the singles on iTunes. I want you to buy the physical copy. If there's a tape, is there a cassette tape?
Not
not yet, but
there
we
should
might.
be.
If there's a cassette tape, buy
We
a
got
cassette
somebody
tape.
from the label here. We're gonna say, Alyssa, you're back there. We got to make this happen. Let's get us a cassette.
And
tape
First
together.
Ave in September time. That
Yeah.
would
Oh, yeah.
be great to see
I'm
everybody.
gonna submit my PTO.
What's the
over.
date on that? Do we know?
That's that June 26th?
Well, no. The
No, September 26th.
September
Yeah, sounds
26th.
right.
September 20 something. I'm gonna submit my PTO request right now.
Please
Yeah.
do.
The record company. Thanks, guys. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Thanks.